just to let you know, I don't want to feel like we're intruding, but we're gonna have to stand by with you for a while. All right.
Is there a reason why?
So any death, we have to treat like a crime scene.
Breaking news out of Arizona. Christopher Scholtes, the father who admitted to abusing his 2-year-old daughter by leaving her to die in a hot car while he searched the internet for porn and played video games, is dead. This news comes as he was supposed to turn himself in after his guilty plea. I go through everything we know about this breaking development in the heartbreaking case. I'm Angenette Levy, and this is Crime Fix. If you think that the crime stories that we cover here on Crime Fix are scary, wait until you hear what's happening with your personal data online. Your name, your phone number, even your address, it's all floating around the internet for data brokers to sell or for scammers to steal. Our sponsor, Incogni, lets you take back control. They find which data brokers have your info and demand they remove it. When I signed up, they found more than 50 brokers with my data, and within days, it started disappearing. Setup just takes minutes. Create an account, authorize Incogni to act for you, and they do the rest. And with their new unlimited plans custom removals feature, you can submit custom links where your data shows up, and a team of privacy experts will remove it for you. So if you care about your online safety, and you should, take your data back with Incogni. Use code CRIMEFIX for 60% off an annual plan. Christopher Scholtes was supposed to appear in court following his guilty plea on charges of second-degree murder and child abuse, but he didn't show up. Scholtes had appeared for all of his prior court appearances, but on Wednesday, he was a no-show at court in Pima County, Arizona. That was cause for concern. Where was Christopher Scholtes, and why didn't he show up for court? He was ordered to turn himself in by the end of the day, but that would not happen. Authorities in Phoenix, about an hour's drive from Marana, where Scholtes had lived with his family when his daughter Parker died in their driveway in July of 2024, said Scholtes was found dead around 5 a.m. in a home there. There aren't a lot of details available about the circumstances surrounding Christopher Scholtes' death, but one thing certainly comes to mind. His life was ruined. He was going to prison for 30 years to serve time for the murder and child abuse of his beautiful daughter. He had been a stay-at-home dad prior to that and had what appeared to be a pretty nice life. His wife was a doctor. They had a beautiful home and children. And Scholtes would have to live with what he had done for the rest of his life, most of which would be spent behind prison walls. It would be a miserable, miserable existence for sure. What he did to Parker was incredibly selfish. He didn't forget she was in the car. He left her there on purpose after the evidence showed he'd been told not to leave her in the car many, many times before. Parker Scholtes died for no reason at all. Let's take a look back at the case, starting with the 911 call that day in July 2024.
What are you reporting?
She was in the car sleeping. She's unresponsive.
Okay. And who is she?
Please.
Who
My
is she?
daughter. My daughter. Please.
And this was out in the driveway?
Yes.
Is she still breathing?
No, she's not breathing right now.
Okay, we need to start CPR right now.
Yes, we are. We're starting CPR, yes. Oh, my God.
How long has it been?
Half hour. It was, but it turns off. I've been checking. Oh, my God.
Okay, is she breathing yet?
Is she breathing? No.
Medics arrived and tried to save Parker, but it was simply too late. Video from inside the home is blurred.
Anything.
Now, Christopher Scholtes begins to ask why police officers are at his house.
Oh, yeah, let's get some work. What's going on? Why are you with me? Because we were first responders and we were on scene when anytime they call us. Anything like this happens, they call us.
At one point, Scholtes talks about his car parked in the driveway. He said he left Parker in it with the AC on, just as he had claimed in the 911 call.
The AC was on. What car was it?
Are you guys all here for me? My MDX.
The one parked
in the
outside?
driveway.
The black one? Okay.
The blue.
No blue. Are you guys here for me?
We're
Yeah.
we want to do everything we can to help. That's why you have so many of us.
This is my worst nightmare.
Christopher Scholtes was incredibly upset. This is an emergency of his own making. His wife is a doctor, and she knows that there's nothing that can be done to save Parker.
She's dead. Like, I need to be with her right now.
Oh my God, my nose! No!
She's dead. We're nothing. Sir, we're doing the best we can. Oh my God! Oh my God!
They're going to Northwest.
Yeah, they're going to Banner right now. We're gonna keep you updated with everything, okay? We just need to stand by with you right now, all right? Is that your wife out there?
Yes.
Okay. We're gonna make sure she gets down there, okay? All right. We have officers escorting her down there. If we need to, we will drive her down there, and we'll make the same accommodations for you. All right. We'll keep you updated with everything they have. Yeah.
Officers are in the house with Christopher Scholtes for a while, and then his wife called.
She wants me to try and get her right to the hospital.
Hey, we'll accommodate that for you. All right. We're just gonna need to get a statement from you about what happened, what's been going on. Obviously, I know this isn't easy for you. Okay, it's not easy for anyone around right now. We're gonna keep you updated with everything we hear. Do you want to sit down somewhere? Where would you be most comfortable?
Sure, like.
You want me to refill this for you? Can I sit? Is that all right?
An officer gets Scholtes to talk, and he offers an explanation as to why the car was parked in the driveway and not the garage.
I'm sorry this is all going on.
We always park that
No,
car in the
it's
garage
not.
usually, but I just got a Peloton recently, and the Peloton is in the garage now, so that's why it's not even in the garage. But
And how long was she sleeping in the car out there?
I want to say it was no more than 30, 45 minutes, and I don't think the air was off that entire time. I think there was a time in between. I had checked on her last, it was still running, she was still sleeping, and then when I went back out, the car was off.
Scholtes wants to go to the hospital, but his plans don't work out exactly as he had hoped.
Just to let you know, I don't want to feel like we're intruding, but we're gonna have to stand by with you for a while. All right.
Is there a reason why?
So any death we have to treat like a crime scene. I know this is extremely difficult for you. This is a normal process that we have to follow through with. I don't want you to be blindsided by anything, but that's what's going to be going on for right now, okay?
So I'm being treated like a murderer?
No.
I just lost my...
Not at all. I know that. And I know this isn't easy for you. That's why I'm trying to be straightforward and honest with you, okay? I don't want to keep any secrets. I don't want to hide anything for you. Someone's going to talk to you about what happened, though. All right? We will keep you updated with everything.
My whole family, my whole family's gonna be ruined.
We'll be all right. So we can't let you do that right now. We have to stand by with you. Okay? As soon as you can, we will let you
You
know.
can stay in the room if you want, but I'm gonna talk.
I know this isn't easy for you, but the quicker we get this done and finished up, the sooner you can be with your wife. All right?
I'm
We
trying
need
to
stand
rinse
by
off
with you.
so I can go to the
I know,
hospital
but
to be with my wife.
we're not going to shower or anything right now. You need to stand by with us.
I don't understand why.
Okay?
Christopher Scholtes was later charged with second-degree murder and taken into custody. It would later come to light, though, that Scholtes had left Parker and her siblings in the car more than 50 times in the past. Then there was this text exchange between Scholtes and his wife as Parker was being rushed to the hospital. Erica Schultz wrote, "I told you to stop leaving them in the car. How many times have I told you?" Schultz responded, "Babe, I'm sorry." His wife responded, "We've lost her. She was perfect." Schultz then responded, "Babe, our family. How could I do this? I killed our baby. This can't be real." Christopher Schultz turned down a plea deal in the spring. Then last month, days before jury selection was set to begin in his trial, and after a judge ruled the jury would not hear that Schultz was searching for pornography as Parker lay dying in the car, he agreed to plead guilty to second-degree murder and child abuse. The county attorney issued a statement. It reads, "Christopher Schultz accepted a plea agreement and pled guilty to 1 count of second-degree murder and 1 count of intentional/knowing child abuse under circumstances likely to cause death or serious physical injury. Under the terms of the plea, the sentences imposed by the judge are going to run consecutively, and Schultz will face a sentencing range of 20 to 30 years of flat time, meaning he's not eligible for early release. He must serve the full sentence imposed by the court in the Department of Corrections for murdering PS on July 9th, 2024. We are grateful for the hard work and dedication of our prosecutors, victim advocates, staff for their collaboration with local law enforcement on this complicated and high-profile case. This is yet another reminder to the community that the Pima County Attorney's Office will do everything we can to get justice for victims and prosecute those who have caused harm to others, especially those who are most vulnerable." Schultz was supposed to be sentenced later this month. Then came word that he didn't show up for court, and he was found dead. So joining me to discuss this really tragic development in this case is Dwayne Cates. He's a certified specialist in criminal law with the Arizona State Bar, longtime criminal defense attorney. Dwayne, this is a tragedy. Christopher Schultes, Schultz was going to prison likely for 30 years for the death of his daughter, Parker, a beautiful little girl. I just don't understand sometimes in cases like this. I get it. He had been free on bail the entire time. He may have been safer, though, in county jail, pending sentencing. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, Arizona has a rule called Rule 7.2, and if you plead guilty to a charge that requires you to go to prison, it's kind of mandatory that you go into custody. Now, the only time that doesn't happen is if the prosecutor and the defense attorney both agree and the judge agrees to waive 7.2, then the person can stay out. But more times than not, a person is taken into custody if they enter into a plea that requires prison for this very reason.
Because there's a fear that something could happen. Maybe the person does something.
Disappears, runs off, goes to another country, is found deceased in the ocean. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm not entirely shocked by this development. I mean, it's a horrific case. When you look back at the body camera footage, obviously, Christopher Schultz did not do this on purpose. He did not do this on purpose, but he neglected his duties as a dad, quite clearly. He admitted to abusing his daughter by leaving her out in that hot car. And this was not a one-off.
Yeah.
He had done this 50 times or so before. He had repeatedly left this beautiful little girl in the car. Typically, he would leave her in the garage, but the Peloton bike was in there that day. And so he left her in the driveway to sleep in the middle of the summer in July. And he's in the house playing video games and stuff, and she's out there for 3 hours. So, it's just a horrific case. I know he didn't do it on purpose, but a little girl died. I mean, it's just horrific.
Yeah, and what makes it really bad is that he'd done it numerous times before. And the email or the text message from his wife is really damning, where it's like, "Dang it, I told you not to leave the kids in the car. I've told you 100 times," very emphatically that she had been telling him not to do that. Okay. And so he can't say, sometimes people are in a rush and they grab the groceries and they go in the house and they forget the child. That's not this case. He left the child there intentionally, and he apparently does it all the time.
And that's what's so upsetting about this case, is that he didn't learn. He didn't learn his lesson. I mean, anything could happen if you leave a child in a car. I mean, somebody can steal the car. Somebody could snatch the child.
Yeah.
any number of things could happen, Dwayne.
Well, you got to keep in mind, this is Arizona too. So in the middle of July, it's hot. I mean, it's 115, 120 degrees outside sometimes. So, I mean, you just can't leave anybody in the car. You can't leave a dog, anything. So, and again, there's various reports that maybe he was in, playing video games and looking at porn or whatever, and if those are the facts, then had he gone to trial, he would have got life in prison. Okay, so the plea agreement was going to let him get out, I think between 20 and 30 years is what the plea called for. And so, and again, that's he looks to be, in his 30s, so that was almost essentially a life in prison sentence.
Most definitely. And I said earlier, in the show, the rest of his life was going to be a miserable, miserable existence. He was going to walk into prison as somebody who did this. He wasn't going to be looked upon in a nice way among the other inmates in the prison. And, you left your daughter in a car to die while you were doing this stuff on the internet and playing video games. So life was going to be pretty miserable for him in prison. And he had a really nice life. He was a stay-at-home dad while his wife was at work. She was a physician. So he had a pretty nice life. And then he was going to be walking into prison for likely 30 years. I think the judge was going to throw the book at him.
Well, and to think about it this way, in Arizona, okay, there are different yards where you get placed in prison. Okay, now if he were a child molester, okay, he would go to a sex yard, which is way better than the other yards. But because he had a second-degree murder conviction that was dangerous crimes against children, he most likely was going to go to a 4-yard, which is the maximum security yard, just below the death penalty and death row. And he's going to be put in there with some really bad guys that don't like the fact that a child got killed. And so he was going to have a really rough life.
This seemed like a major error, though, on the part of the courts. It seems like a really a bad miscalculation, on the part of the defense, the prosecution, and the judge, in my opinion, because we've seen this type of thing happen, in other cases where somebody takes off, somebody decides to end it because they're not going to go to prison for the rest of their life. So do you think that judges will be more hesitant after seeing this to agree to that in the future?
And generally, when stakes are this high, the person isn't let go. I mean, that's generally speaking. And I think because his wife probably spoke highly of him at the bond reduction hearing, the hearing to get him out. Okay, and I think that probably played into it. But in most cases where you're pleading to second-degree murder, you're not going home from the change of plea hearing. You're going to jail. And that and again, all that has to happen is if the prosecutor would have said, "I'm not willing to waive 7.2," then they would have had to have put him in jail. Okay, because the state had to agree to do that. If they didn't do that, then the judge has no choice because the statute basically says shall. And some judges read it that you can't even, that you can't waive it. Okay, I've had judges tell me that. Most will if everybody agrees, but generally not on a second-degree murder case.
Yeah, it's really sad. I mean, it's sad for his other children because now they're going to grow up without a father at all. At least they may have been able to speak with him on the phone or the prison tablet or something like that. But now they're not going to be able to ever speak with their father again. It really is a tragedy. But I hope that the courts will take notice of this and see that they should have just taken him into custody right then and there after the guilty plea. Dwayne Cates, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Oh, no problem. Hey, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. Anytime.
And we'll continue to follow this case for you. I'm Angenette Levy. Thanks so much for being with me for this episode of Crime Fix. I'll see you back here next time.